Well, in other news, we are reading new reports today that the Democrats have taken some quiet steps to silence conservative groups in the upcoming midterms. Fox News digital politics editor Chris Starwalt is with us now. How, Chris?
Well, remember that thing about the targeting? There was kind of a little bit of a scandal about that last year with the IRS. Yeah, it was kind of a thing. And a lot of Americans don't know this, but speech is regulated in the United States, I guess by the FCC, you could say, but substantially by the IRS, in the sense that if you pay money to share your message, the IRS gets to scrutinize whether what you're doing is a for-profit exercise or is what you're doing for elective office, and they get to determine how much tax you pay and all of that stuff. As it turns out, the administration's determination and the agreement among Democrats is that there wasn't actually really targeting. But really the problem was that the rules weren't good. And it just so happened that the president's enemies were the victims of this targeting, but the problem was the rules. So now what they want to do is essentially memorialize the sort of things that were done into the new rule book, so that what was previously decried as targeting is now just the standard operating procedure.
So the solution is not to stop the targeting, it's to make the targeting perfectly legal.
Well, if you want to put it that way, I guess you could.
But this is all about who can qualify as a non-political entity, basically, right?
Right.
And now the Democrats, their first reaction, some of them, to this news that the IRS was targeting Tea Party groups and conservative groups was, well, they shouldn't have been out there doing what they were doing to begin with. The targeting was justified because they shouldn't have been out there, advocating for limited government, for example. And some people stopped and said, wait, you're missing the point. You do it. You do it on the left, and now the right finally sort of got its act together and they started doing it. You can't just say, oh, they shouldn't be doing it. You have to say, hey, the rules should apply evenly to both parties. And the Democrats said, well, you should tighten the noose so that they're not allowed to do the things they're doing. And now that's what's being done. So fewer and fewer Tea Party groups and so on are going to be able to engage in political activities. Is that it?
If I put a billboard up that says global warming is death, at the same time that Congress is considering new taxes on carbon emissions, wouldn't that be political speech? Well, no, not under this. The point being, conservative groups that are talking about the government, their issue, the thing that conservatives care about and hate quite a good bit, it seems, is the federal government, that they think is too big, too abusive, too large. So what issue do they talk about all the time? Hating the federal government. It's their jam. If environmentalists talk about environmental policy that is being voted on, that's excluded. But if you talk about hating the government, that's included, and you're busted.
Expect more targeting. Chris, thank you.
Yeah, you bet.